So here we are setting up a new Red Sea 650 Reef aquarium, and I just want to have a little chat with you about temperature. Basically, increasing the temperature of the aquarium is extremely easy because you just get a glass heater, a good brand like a Jagar, throw it in the sump down the bottom, and Bob's your uncle. If your temperature's too low, the heater kicks in, raises the temperature to about 24 degrees, and Bob's your uncle. If the temperature gets too warm, you have bigger issues. The reason why you have bigger issues is it's harder to chill water than it is to heat it. So in a perfect world, you get a chiller, such as that. So the chiller goes down in the cupboard, but preferably not. So in this case, this Red Sea cabinet's designed so it's short at the bottom, so therefore air can actually flow through this cabinet. But if it's a really hot day, it is advisable just to open up the cabinet so air gets through, because if you get good air through your chiller, the chiller will actually be more efficient. So the next thing we need to discuss is if you don't have a chiller. So if you do have a chiller, you're in business, because a chiller is the best way of chilling your water, because it's set and forget. If you set the chiller for 26 degrees and you set the heater for 24 degrees, then Bob's your uncle, you don't have to worry about it. But a chiller costs money. So if you don't have money, or if you don't have space, or if you don't like spending money, then you might not buy a chiller. If you don't buy a chiller, then you have to be more cautious of your temperature. So the things that you can do if you don't have a chiller is, first of all, blow a fan across the surface of the aquarium. So with the open top tanks, it's very easy. With your closed cabinet hood ones, it's very hard, and they're the ones that really hold the temperature. So if you can remove the hood or open the hood and blow a pedestal fan or a desktop fan across the surface of the water, you will be surprised how well that chills your water. You can easily drop 4 degrees just by evaporatively cooling the tank. So a nice fan blown across the surface, and you can also blow a fan across the sump. And there are little clip-on fans now that clip on the side of the tank and are quite efficient at actually dropping the temperature. So it's very cheap and it's very efficient, but it is something you need to set up, and it is something you need to be aware of, so it's not set and forget like a chiller. Now the next way that you can chill the aquarium, which is completely useless if you've got a big aquarium, but highly effective if you have a small aquarium, is you just get yourself some 2-litre Coke bottles, or whatever size is appropriate for your aquarium. 3/4 fill them with water and chuck them in the freezer. Then in the morning you can pop them out of the freezer, throw them in the fish tank, and that's going to just release. It's like having an ice block cruising around the tank, and that might take the bulk of the day to dissolve, to defrost, depending on the size of the ice cube. So if it's just a sealed Coke bottle full of water, which turns into ice, then that's absolutely a way that you can chill the aquarium, which is not appropriate for large aquariums, but is actually appropriate for little aquariums. Now the next thing you can do is you can do what's called geo-chilling, which, if you're a do-it-yourself handyman / tight ass, you might decide to choose the geo method. And technically, if you have the aquarium in a position where you can plumb some piping outside, and you can dig a hole deep enough, and it would have to be seriously deep, then you curl flexible pipe into the deep hole that you've dug, but it's got to be seriously deep. I'm talking meters, so you'd have to have some sort of instrument or some sort of drill to drill it with, but it is actually a possibility. People have actually done it, and this is a way that they often do it on in coral farms. They'll often use the geo method. The other thing they use, a lot of the suppliers use, is they'll actually get it for a very large tanks. They'll actually get a shower head and they'll spray a shower head, spray water from the aquarium through a shower head back into the sump or back into the tank, which has got a fan running over it, and that actually is quite an efficient way of doing it. And another thing that I've seen tight asses do is you get yourself a bar fridge, put the bar fridge next to the aquarium, you get a length of flexible pipe which you curl in the freezer section of the bar fridge, and that returns to your sump. So and the other thing that you want to do with that is you get a bag of water, so you curl the flexible pipe inside a bag of water and put that in the freezer and freeze the bag of water. And you must make sure that the pump is running when you turn the freezer on, because the water needs to keep going through the curls of flexible pipe inside the freezer. Otherwise the water inside the freezer is going to freeze and you aren't going to have any chilling. So the water needs to be running the whole time if you are going to use that method. And the only way that you can control the temperature is by literally switching off the freezer. So this is technically a way that you can chill the aquarium. I have seen it done, but my advice is don't be a tight ass and buy a chiller.